The first time I saw the cabin, it didn't look like a retreat. It looked like a memory, one that time had nearly erased. The roof sagged, the logs had faded to gray. Windows rattled in their frames every time the wind sighed through the trees. A century-old structure standing on stubbornness alone. Most people told me it wasn't worth saving. But when I looked at it, I didn't see decay. I saw endurance. So I made a decision. I wasn't going to demolish it. I was going to resurrect it. The plan was simple on paper, but brutal in practice. Take a 100-year-old cabin and turn it into a modern, functional retreat without losing its soul. The kind of place where you could sit by the fire with coffee in hand and still feel the weight of history in every beam. The first step was assessment. I brought in a structural engineer who confirmed what I already suspected. The foundation was failing. So we lifted the cabin carefully, inch by inch, with hydraulic jacks, and poured a new concrete pier base beneath. That moment felt like surgery, precise, slow, nerve-wracking. But when the cabin settled back down, it stood straighter than it had in decades. That was our turning point. Next came the logs. A century of weather had stripped their protection. Some were rotting from the bottom, others split wide open. I replaced the worst ones with reclaimed pine beams, milled to match the original diameter. Every joint was refitted by hand. No shortcuts, no modern patch jobs. I wanted the cabin to breathe again, not wear a disguise. Inside, we gutted everything down to the bones. The wiring was ancient, insulation non-existent. I rewired the entire cabin with modern electrical, added discrete spray foam insulation, and installed new plumbing lines that could handle winter without bursting. The challenge was hiding modern systems inside antique architecture. Every conduit had to vanish into walls. Every outlet had to blend in with aged timber. Then came design, the part where history and modern living had to shake hands. The goal was warmth without clutter, modernity without sterility. I kept the exposed beams but sanded and oiled them until they glowed with life. The walls were lined with natural shiplap, painted a muted sage tone that played beautifully with the wood's warmth. The kitchen was built from scratch, reclaimed oak counters, matte black fixtures, and open shelving crafted from leftover beams. Every piece of it said old meets new. The fireplace became the heart of the cabin again, rebuilt stone by stone with a modern wood stove insert that heats the entire space efficiently. It's not just aesthetic, it's survival. Lighting transformed everything. Old cabins tend to be dark, but I didn't want to lose that moody charm. I installed recessed LEDs in the beams, hidden so the source stayed invisible. Soft uplighting made the logs glow at night like they were alive again. And during the day, we added new double-pane windows, same size, same trim, but thermally efficient. You wouldn't know they were new unless you touched them. The flooring came next, wide plank oak with a subtle matte finish, echoing the original boards. Every creak that remained felt intentional, not broken. I didn't want perfection. I wanted honesty. For heating and cooling, I used a ductless mini-split system, silent and efficient. It was one of the few visible modern touches, but it earned its place. Comfort is non-negotiable when you're spending winters surrounded by snow. Then came the small details, the furniture, handmade pieces that looked like they belonged there from day one. Textured wool throws, iron handles, a single black steel staircase leading to the loft. Modern, but grounded. The transformation wasn't quick. It took 6 months of planning, sweat, and setbacks. Every time I peeled back a wall, I discovered another century-old problem. But that's what renovation is, not fixing the past, but collaborating with it. Cost-wise, it was lean but strategic. Foundation and structural work, around $8,000. Electrical and plumbing, another $4,000. Interior finishes, flooring, and kitchen combined, $6,500. Furniture and fixtures, about $2,000 more. All in, roughly $20,000 and worth every penny. But the real value wasn't financial. The real value was walking into that cabin on the final night. Lights dimmed, fire crackling, and realizing the place wasn't just standing again. It was alive. The air felt warmer, the silence deeper. The past and present finally shared the same space without clashing. 100 years ago, someone built this cabin with an axe and bare hands. All I did was pick up where they left off. That's the beauty of restoration. It's not ownership. It's stewardship. If you ever get the chance to save something old, do it. Because when you rebuild history, you're not just renovating a structure, you're repairing time itself. If this story inspired you, subscribe, stay tuned for the next project. And remember, you can build new things every day, but reviving something old? That's legacy work.